Hello and welcome to Stephen University. This week we are discussing bonus stuff. Yay!
Bonus!
So this is just another attempt. To be fair, these are things people asked us to do, but it's just so happened that there have been two occasions in which we've needed the schedule to line up in order to do the bombs, which is another thing people have asked us to do. So it's worked out really well that both times we've had like an episode we could slot in to sort of shuffle the.
Yeah.
Go. No, sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I was completely talking over you. It's really rude. Carry on.
I was just going to say, it's handy that we've had these episodes to slot in to help the schedule line up for the bombs and stuff. This is the last time we'll need to do it, and it allows us to cover the stuff people asked us to cover, which is the pilot, which we've already done. You guys have already heard that. And now we're doing, obviously, the extended intro, which people always said we should slot in just after Reformed. So I think we've been really lucky that it's lined up so well. So we're doing that, and we're also doing the season 1 shorts, which I'll be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of. But
that's what I was going to say. I love all our listeners. You know it, listeners. You know it. But the idea that anyone would want our thoughts on the shorts is just bamboozling to me. But
well, it's because there's a larger set of shorts, but the other ones belong in season 4, and they're better. The season 4 shorts are quite good, but spoilery. So
let's launch into those quickly first. Then I did actually enjoy the shorts.
They're not bad. They're just inconsequential. That's the problem.
I don't, because in particular I liked, so of the classroom lessony ones, I liked What Are Gems Made Of. I thought that was quite cool because although they have given us that information before, actually things like grown from the earth wasn't explicitly stated, so taking all the good from the earth I don't think was explicitly stated or phrased in that way at the very least. So I thought that was cool to get some new stuff on that. And I really did like I liked the lion in a box, because at first I was like, wow, I just love the idea of a writer's room, and they finished the unboxing one. For those that don't remember, the unboxing one is Stephen unboxing a hot dog backpack.
Well,
and in it,
there's a gem fight happening, but you don't get to see any of it. It's all happening behind him, and he's desperately and bravely carrying on his unboxing of the hot dog rucksack. No, it's not a rucksack, is it? What is it? It's a hot dog.
It's a backpack.
No, it's not. No, it's not a bag. It's a hold all or something. It's not. It's a. It's a different kind of bag, which I always found quite funny.
And I liked that there's this bit in it where Lion gets in the box, and it's a
duffel bag.
Duffel bag.
There you go.
And he gets in the box that it came in. And at first, I was like, I just love the idea of the writers' room. Someone going, we need a 5th one. You know that bit where Lion gets in the box? Let's just do that, but more. All right, yeah. And then as I watched, I was like, oh, actually, that's what I thought before I hit play. Then when I hit play, I was like, oh, actually, it's a parody of cat videos. And that's what I liked about. And I don't know if they aired separately, but I liked the ones that were spoofing popular internet videos. It's like Cartoon Network going, we're going to do internet videos by doing internet videos. So I preferred them to the classroom ones.
I will say that is more the direction the second set of shorts takes.
Cool.
Without giving it away. But I mean, I think they're both okay. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just like, I can't imagine why anyone would... And again, like you, love the listeners, we're happy to do it. But I don't know what you can get out of a conversation about them, because they're pretty inconsequential. They're animated well. In fact, they're animated at the normal quality, because both the Classroom Gem stuff, both of those shorts, and the extended intro were all created under a production code. So they were sort of made as an episode, if that makes sense. Like, it was one production code, and then they were all made as part of that. So they went through the production cycle as a single episode, if that makes sense. They didn't take up an episode of the run, but they were made and produced as part of the run, if that makes sense.
Yeah. While you were talking then, my mic fell over. Apologies if there was any sound disruption for anyone. Why does that make you laugh?
I just love that, it was just, I don't know, something about it, just like, I've never known, like, how often does that happen in the podcast? Like, I've never knocked I don't think I've knocked my mic. I've nudged my mic once or twice and gone, sorry if you heard that. But you seem to knock your mic actually over, like, every other podcast. And I just, and I sit here every time thinking the exact same thought, which is, how? That consistently? How? Everyone would make a mistake once in a it's like every other one. What are you doing, Chris? Are you just like flailing about as you speak? I don't understand.
Well, no, it's because we got the pop shield now, and I just get paranoid. So I was just like trying to look like through the pop shield to double check it was recording, and I accidentally knocked it. So apologies.
You need to turn the backlight on. We've had that conversation.
I've turned the backlight on, but I just wanted to like double check.
Oh. For those who are wondering, the mics we have, the downside to them is because they're standalone mics, they're not connected into a separate sound system. We use the Zoom, the H2Ns instead of the H4N. Now the H4N, you get separate mics and plug them into it, and it sort of works like a soundboard. These ones have their own individual recording capabilities, and therefore they record to their own little SD cards. They've got their own little display, and they don't need a proprietary or a secondary device to be recording to, if that makes sense. They are a standalone piece of equipment. You don't need a laptop to run them. That's why we like them. It means they're portable and we can record anywhere, and we don't need other additional kit. The downside is when you put a pop shield in front of one, you can't see the screen. But what we've learned is if you turn the backlight on, it sort of shines through the pop shield, and you can be aware that it's recording.
Think.
Yeah.
Seemingly not for me, but you'd think. I'm pleased to hear that the other ones parody and do that more.
Yes.
Like I say, they were the most enjoyable ones. You know, and I think it's, in a way, they were as great as they can be, because, yes, they're inconsequential, but they're always gonna be. It would be a negative if they had more purpose. I think it would have been fun to, like, see him with the backpack in an episode. Like, you see them have the monster
have, like, him running around with the duffel bag in hand. So, like...
Yeah, and him, and you know he's trying to do something, but you don't quite know what. And then when you watch this, it makes sense. And
that would have been so... So you don't mean him, he like, later on, or beforehand, you'd seen it, and this is the explanation of how he got it. You literally mean that's part of another episode, and later on, you see the gems burst into the house and fight this tentacle monster. And you can tell he's doing something, but you don't know what. That would have been really cool. That would have been cool. We do learn something pretty important as well, though. It's actually a reference to a conversation we had literally last week, which is we talked about, or earlier this week maybe, depending on the airing schedule. I think we talked about how gems might die.
Yeah, that's what I mean about the classroom. We do get some cool details, and that was another one that we got, the confirmation.
Yeah, I don't remember that being confirmed. Well, they've never even said that. I mean, that's I remember that coming up at a later date in the show. Therefore, I was quite coy when we were talking about it. You were like, because I was sort of like, oh, well, let's just say that there is a way to kill a gem, and you were like, ooh, and then literally like a week later, it's like they're just outside of the context of the show, like, if you shatter a gem, the gem dies, and it's like, oh, okay, that's a thing then.
And makes a lot of sense. Like, it's a shame I couldn't guess that in a way.
Yeah, that's guessable. That's what I was almost concerned I'd said too much, and you might, but then the show's just giving it away anyway. Like, so I don't really. They threw that information out there, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, basically, they're a projection that has mass from the gem. It's actually, you're right. It is better explained in these videos than anywhere else. That's for sure. Like, even in the show, they've always been a bit subtle about how they've explained stuff, and it's made for good sort of speculation, but it's also like over time what they tend to do in the show is they make it clear through demonstration rather than dialogue. So Pearl won't necessarily give the most thorough explanation of how a gem's physiology is, but as you watch the show, you pick up bits and pieces from what you observe and you start to work it out, whereas this just goes, we're like holograms that have mass, and if you hurt us, we will resort back into the gem, retreat back into the gem, and then pop back out after we've reformed. And then of course, if you shatter the gem, then that's when you can kill the gem. But it's weird,
like
to
in
think
Doctor Who, if you kill a Time Lord mid regeneration.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I mean, cracking the gem though presumably doesn't necessarily need to happen while the gem has been poofed.
Yeah, well, I suppose not, no.
because the gems on show at all times, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like,
I suppose
if you ran a sword through Stephen's belly button,
you'd be like, kapow.
Yeah, I mean, presumably. Although that just reminds me of that moment in Harry Potter, which is quite funny, which is when Scrimgeour brings Harry the sword, and he's like, "Is there any reason you'd want the sword, Harry?" He's like, "I don't know. Has anyone tried sticking a sword in Lord Voldemort yet?" It's just I don't know why that line always sticks out to me, but it does. Anyway, so
let's go on to the meteor one. The extended opening.
Yes, I've been waiting for you to watch this for so long. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen this.
Was it started, and I just assumed it would be literally an extended version of the opening. And then it starts, and it's this little short, and I'm like, I double-checked that I'd clicked on the right thing, and I had. And then, like, I'm like, oh, it's little baby Stephen, or younger Stephen. Like, that's really cool. I thought it was a really unique, fun way of doing it. And I liked the way it evolved from young Stephen to them joining in. Really fun. Quite a nice reminder of what had happened in the show so far. Perfectly placed at this point, so I'm assuming it came out, at the beginning of season 2.
Sort of, but sort of not. Basically, it was one of the most frustrating experiences of my time in the Steven Universe fandom, because we are now at the point, roughly, I can't remember exactly which episode, but it was around this point in which I caught up. So there were big, weird little droughts at this stage, and they showed this at Comic-Con, I believe Comic-Con, or some sort of convention, and it was filmed, and it was out there, but with bad quality, and you couldn't hear what Garnet was singing because people were cheering so much over Garnet's appearance that you couldn't hear the words. And I watched that version on loop for about, months, until it leaked, and it didn't even get officially released by Cartoon Network for ages then. It is designed to fit in at this point because from the next episode, Chris, the ending section of this, which is a recreation of the original intro but with, updated character designs, things like that, that is now your intro for the show. So it fits in here, but Cartoon Network were not clever enough, I don't believe, to necessarily directly release it or officially release it around that time. So it was out there but not, and then it was ages until we got it, and it was a whole thing. It's a faff.
Okay.
Upset me deeply.
It's great, though. It's
amazing.
It's really, really good. Really funny. Just cute to see young Stephen and put a bit of context in there. And, yeah.
Obviously, seeing them build the house, because we'd had a hint that had been built for him, but to see that actualised was really neat. It's also kind of tragic, because you have that moment where Greg's reading him a bedtime story, and he doesn't live there, so he has to go home, and he's just sort of... Like, I don't know, he puts his son to bed and then leaves, and it's just really sad when he just turns around and looks at the gems, and they're just like, well, bye.
It's just like, get out of here, Greg. You've already slept with one of us.
Yeah. That's exactly what they're saying. Chris has...
Get your manly seductions out of here.
And of course, the other big thing from this is the first reveal, potentially, of Yellow Diamond.
Yeah, so I had to pause that, and I was like, I swear we don't know all those figures. Like,
yep,
this big dude in the middle.
Yep, there's in the words of what's it called? So this is basically Steven Universe. It's an evil space giraffe, which is kind of what it looks like from the back. It is, and it was very quickly decided by the fans that it was Yellow Diamond. It's the only character it made sense for it to be. It's a character we've had hinted at, obviously, in Jailbreak. So we knew that Yellow Diamond was coming. This is our first glimpse of Yellow Diamond. The other figures, of course, there in that shot are Peridot, Jasper, and Lapis, who is there reluctantly in that shot. You notice that she's caught around the wrist by Jasper.
Yeah.
It's really well done. Really well done. And like I said, the crowd in the Comic-Con version of that footage go nuts when Yellow Diamond turns around. I mean, nuts.
Is that still out there?
I bet it is. And if you can find it, it is really worth watching. The reactions are insane. The crowd go crazy for it. And
I love watching, because I love watching them, like, when the trailers are actually out. Like, you're right, it's frustrating when you just want to see the actual trailer. Mm-hmm. But when you know the trailer well, hearing crowd reactions at Comic-Con is so fun to do.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed. There's a lot in it to unpack. I mean, it's so much. I mean, the moment that gets me every time, and it's like the excitement it builds in me. I don't even know how it does it. It's after the first version of the chorus, and they go in, the other gems start joining in. It's the bit where like Stephen is running alongside them, but behind. And he slips back and behind them, and then you show the montage of all the growth he's had in the season we've had, and then you see him catch up and then go ahead of the gems, and it's just such a powerful, but very simple, symbolic image, of the team running, one of them lagging behind, and then not only catching up but surpassing the others. It's
because that's the logical hero's journey for him to go on over the course of the entire show.
Oh, 100%. But the way it's visually represented there with that music just gets me every time. I can't express to you how, like, there's just something about it. And it's the way they intercut the footage as well of, they sort of fade in footage of, like, him, these various achievements, pulling the sword out of Lion's head, pulling out the shield when they were shot at from the hand ship in...
Steve Onni.
Yeah, Steve Onni. There's so many like of his big pivotal moments are in that, and it's I think it's really well done, really really well done. And also Amethyst eating a bottle of water,
and the plate coming off. There's just a lot of nice visual gags in it as well. Like it's really good.
And so what do you think in terms of the second section of it then, where it's actually the pretty much the intro we already know and love, but like redone with the new designs, because they've all obviously now reformed. And I will say this, I suspect a little bit that, how last week we talked about Amethyst reforming, feeling a little bit like, oh, we got to do Amethyst now because the other two have had their reform, sort of refreshed looks. It's weird that this comes just before they do the new intro. It feels like they went, oh crap, we're going to do the new intro. We better give Amethyst a new costume pretty quick because we want to make sure that it's got some...
Is it... Because I don't know what I want from that. I don't know if I want, like, them to change every season, whether that feels right and logical, or whether them to be these designs for a bit. I don't know.
But how do you feel though about the final section of this, which is essentially the old intro but redone, and that's now going to be our intro? The music's updated, the voices are updated. Connie's holding that sword from Lion's head. You see Onion on top of the big donut. There's like a lot more of the town involved in the last section.
Yeah, I like it. It's like I'd compare it to when towards the end of The Office they started doing versions of the theme song where you had, Phyllis Creed. They didn't do it often, but they started doing it more and more. It keeps things fresh and keeps them, not being outdated. I like the shot of Connie with like the van, but seeing her in more of an action shot and her pivotal role and more of the town, I think is a nicer reflection of where the show is now.
Yeah, it's a much more populated town in this footage.
Yeah, which I think is the right move, and I think that's a reflection of where the show's gone in the same way that it was for The Office. Yeah, because it always used to bug me. There was nothing like this in the Steven Universe theme, but it always used to bug me in The Office that Ryan was in the theme tune.
Well, even years after he left the show.
Yeah, well, not so much that. Even at the beginning, he wasn't. He season 1 maybe, but by 2, 3, he wasn't any more a main part than Kevin, for example.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. Oh, I think BJ Novak though was like I think they were pretty. I think he was a hard man to pin down, and they had to. I think it was part of his contract. I think that he had to be in the credits or something.
Maybe I get his name because he was a writer on the show, but but so was the dude who played Toby Flenderson. So anyway. Separate thing. Really loved the intro. Surprised that it was sort of extended intro / skit. And there were some good pieces that make the shorts worth watching as well. Mm-hmm.
Cool. There you go. Cool. So there we go. That's the shorts and the extended intro. Sorry if there's not as much to say about that.
Next week.
And this has been a bit.
What we got next week, Dan? I think we filled a regular episode. I don't think there's been not much to say.
Yeah, I guess not.
I think,
Go on. What
you're
you gonna say?
doing us a disservice there.
I just feel like I rambled
Why?
a lot this week. Carry on.
Why are you unhappy, Dan? What's wrong? What's happening with Dan? What's going on with Dan?
Dan's happy.
Well, Dan just sounds, what more? Do you want every week to be half an hour? Well, no, I better not start fucking, because people will start putting that in the comments, like, half an hour.
I know what we've proven over the time. I think is that what we tend to do is like the original conceit of analyzing the episode within 10 to 15 minutes is still true. It's just that now we ramble for a bit after that and start repeating ourselves to sort of pad it out to the 20 to 25 we've started doing. I think that's
we aim for 20. We've hit 20. Don't be so miserable, Dan, is my point.
Well, no, I was just concerned that we'd
sad,
hit 20 by sort of buffering it rather than actually having anything interesting to say. That's what I'm worried about.
No, I don't think so.
Fair enough.
We've done plenty of worse tangents than those.
Yeah. No, that's for sure.
Okay, I'll give you. Okay. Just in case we have, Dan, we'll do the thing where I ask you, Stephen, I ask you a question.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
If you were the three gems that aren't Stephen, so pearl, amethyst, and garnet, you've got to marry one of them. You've got to go on a 10-hour car journey with one of them, and you've got to have one of them be your partner in a zombie apocalypse. Which gem are you picking for which one?
Zombie apocalypse has got to be garnet.
Yep, I'd agree with that.
Yep, she's practical, but she's kick-ass. You need it. 10-hour car journey. Oh dear, there are no good options here, are there? There are no good options here.
It's difficult because obviously
Garnet's the good
I
option
want to marry Pearl.
What's that?
Obviously, I want to marry Pearl, but like,
I know you want to marry Pearl. I just
then you've got Amethyst for an 8-hour car journey, which would be unbearable.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's tough. It's tough. Oh, you don't want to marry Amethyst either, though, do you?
No, I think you got to marry Pearl and go on the car journey with Amethyst.
Yeah, I think that is your options, isn't it?
I think so.
It's not pretty, but that's life. Can I not just
you could hope that she knows that the bad thing would be if she gets frustrated by the long car journey. If she accepts that element, though, and just keeps changing herself to keep you entertained and doesn't moan so much about
Actually,
being
that's a good
bored,
point. Amethyst can be good fun. Amethyst can be good fun.
Yes, it's just it solely depends on how negative she's going to be about the fact that you're in this long car journey.
Yeah, because what happens once she gets bored is she starts winding you up. That's the next step, isn't it?
But you got to assume though that for someone who's lived 1,000 years, 8 hours isn't that long.
Yeah, you'd assume, but I've seen her get bored in the show before.
Yeah.
Do you remember when she started intentionally losing at chess just so she could have water balloons thrown at her head?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the person we're talking about. And I don't know if you'd necessarily want to marry Pearl.
Obviously,
Well, I know you
my
would.
gem crush.
But no, I know that. But I'm saying, like, just from a having to sort of live with perspective, she seems a little needy. She'd be a lot of work.
That's better than Amethyst, who would drive you nuts and be bored, and Garnet, who's in love with herself.
Yeah, I suppose of the options I have.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Plus, Dan, I can be a little needy. It's fine.
You could be codependent together.
I mean, the downside is fictional. But yeah.
Quick thing that I've got a note from my girlfriend to add to this episode, by the way, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
She really, really liked the artwork we were sent last week that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
awesome.
Every now and then she just goes, "Can I look at it again?" And I'll have to show
she
it to her.
should save her own copy, but just go to our Twitter feed, Nadia. It's not that hard.
Or you can go to drawnwithoutRef.tumblr.com, or go to instagram.com/drawnwithoutRef to see more of that gentleman's excellent work.
I think if she really liked it, she'd get her own copy. But carry on.
Actually, do I know it's a gentleman? I can't remember. What was the name on the Twitter account? Don't remember. That's a shame. Could be a lady. Anyway, point is,
I don't know.
Nadia wants more of this stuff, so she said to tell everyone to do more of that. I'm fine with you not doing it. I feel like I'd feel bad about the time anyone invests in that.
I think there should be a trade-off. I'm going to act on behalf of the listeners because the listeners can't respond right now. They can only respond in comments. So I would argue, Dan, that if Nadia wants something from the listeners, she needs to give something to them. So maybe the odd episode, you could ask Nadia what she thought of the episode and come with a few thoughts from Nadia.
I don't think she'd ever do that, but I will ask.
It's well then they're going to hold out on the artwork.
Yeah.
I'm acting as an agent here for the listeners, and that's the agreement that we have.
I think here's the thing, right? From my perspective, I think that the artwork was incredible, and it's cool that anyone would care enough to do that. And if anyone goes to that trouble in future, we will most definitely, if you send it along, show it in the podcast. We won't necessarily always be able to reference it, because I don't know how much we would then get, and then there's a whole... We have to have an art corner at the end of each episode of the podcast where I don't want that to be a thing. But I also don't want anyone to... I'm sure there are more valuable creative pursuits. Please.
Yeah,
Please put your incredible talents to better use.
Don't separate from your loved ones to draw us in cartoon form.
Don't draw something that you can actually put in a portfolio. Don't. Do you know what I mean?
But if Nadia brings some thoughts and you've got the inkling to, feel free to draw something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've once again found a natural awkward ending. That is
they're my favourites.
So we'll leave that there for this week. You said earlier on, you're like, guess what's next week, Dan? And I'm going, what is next week? What is next week?
Next week
Chris?
is the bomb, man.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Well, next week is the beginning of the double bomb.
The double bomb.
Which means that from Monday the 27th of November through to the 8th of December, we are doing Monday to Friday, then Monday to Friday again, an episode every day. That is 10 episodes in 2 weeks. It's a lot.
And if you're worried that it will affect the quality, doing so many, probably will.
Yeah.
No, it won't, because the way we're recording them isn't changing too much, so don't worry too much. It will be the same laxter quality it currently is.
Yeah, it'll be just as shit as it is now, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah, it will. It's I think that's fair. I think that's reasonable. Anywho, so that's everything for this week. We'll speak to you next week at the start of our double bomb as we discuss Rising Tides, Crashing Skies. No, wrong one. Wrong episode title, Chris. Sworn to the Sword.
Nice.
Take 2? Shall I...
That was no. I think it's good to do both the next episode smooth ending and the awkward ending.
All in one.
I think this fits both.
Yeah, that was efficient, is all that was.